The rain was coming down in silver sheets the night Alex Parker carried his sleeping daughter on his shoulder and walked past the towering skyscraper that wasn't his world. He was just a single dad, broke, with overdue rent notices stuffed into his worn backpack and a heart that beat only for the little girl he promised to protect. His life had been reduced to scraping meals together and praying the electricity wouldn't be cut. But destiny had a strange way of weaving his story into one far bigger than he could have imagined. Alex used to be an accountant, good at numbers, sharp with strategies, but when his wife passed away in childbirth, everything collapsed. The grief hollowed him out. He quit his career to care for his daughter, and without the second income, debts swallowed him whole. Friends disappeared, family judged, and the only thing he clung to was being present for little Emma, who was now 5 years old, bright-eyed, and often asking why Daddy skipped dinner so she could eat. One night when his bank account showed a terrifying balance of 8.47, Alex found himself standing outside a luxury hotel. Through the tall glass windows he saw men and women in expensive suits raising champagne flutes, laughing like kings. He pulled Emma closer, whispering that one day things would be different. He didn't expect that night to change everything. Inside that hotel, CEO Nathan Cross was on the verge of disaster. The billionaire had it all, wealth, power, media attention, but his empire was crumbling. A single miscalculated expansion left his company drowning. Every advisor he hired demanded millions up front, offering generic solutions. He felt betrayed and cornered. Nathan had 3 days to save the company, or bankruptcy would rip everything apart. As fate would have it, Alex bumped into Nathan when he tried to slip into the hotel lobby to get Emma warm from the rain. The security was about to throw him out, but Nathan stopped them, noticing Emma wrapped in her father's coat. Something about Alex's protective stance struck him. He asked, almost instinctively, "What's your story?" Embarrassed, Alex tried to leave, but Nathan pressed. Within minutes, Alex admitted he was an accountant once and that life had been cruel. Nathan, half desperate, half curious, challenged him. "If you're as sharp as you say, tell me how you'd save $1 billion company with only 3 days." That night, in a quiet conference room, while Emma slept curled up on a sofa with Nathan's assistant watching her, Alex scribbled on a whiteboard. He mapped out cash flow redirections, restructuring, and a bold partnership strategy no one else had suggested. His mind worked like lightning. Nathan sat in awe. For the first time in months, hope surged through him. The next 72 hours were a storm. Nathan gave Alex the authority, and together they faced vicious board members, skeptical investors, and a hostile media waiting for collapse. Every challenge was like a wall closing in. When the board laughed at Alex, dismissing him as a desperate single father with nothing to lose, Nathan slammed his fist and said, "That's why I trust him, because he knows what real loss is, and what it takes to fight back." Emma became the silent strength in the background, coloring in Nathan's office while her father rebuilt financial strategies. Alex stayed up sleepless nights, sometimes his hands trembling from exhaustion, but Nathan never let him quit. He brought food, encouragement, and even carried Emma to bed when Alex was too drained. Slowly, their bond deepened, not just as allies but as two men carrying loneliness they rarely spoke of. On the third day, the plan worked. Investors who were seconds from pulling out reinvested. Partnerships restructured. Debt slashed. The company didn't just survive, it rebounded. The value skyrocketed, and within hours Nathan had secured $1 billion in turnaround revenue. The empire was safe, cameras flashed, employees cheered, and Nathan's name lit up the financial world as the man who pulled off the impossible. But in the middle of the celebration, Nathan silenced the room. He pulled Alex to the stage, his voice shaking with emotion. "The truth is, I didn't save this company. He did. A single dad who walked in with nothing but love for his daughter and a mind sharper than anyone I've ever met." Then, as the room fell into stunned silence, Nathan took Alex's hand. "You gave me back my company, my hope, my life. And I don't want to waste another second without telling you this. I don't just want you as my partner in business. I want you as my partner in life. Will you marry me?" Gasps filled the hall. Alex, who had only expected maybe a thank you and a small paycheck, stood frozen. Emma tugged his sleeve, whispering, "Say yes, Daddy." Tears filled his eyes. For years he had believed he was destined to be alone, burdened with struggle. But in that moment, surrounded by people who once mocked him, he realized he had not only changed his fate but found love where he least expected it. He said yes, The hall erupted in applause. Nathan pulled him into a trembling embrace as Emma clapped with joy. Their story became a legend, not about billions or corporations, but about resilience. About how the man who had nothing gave everything, and how love found its way into two broken hearts. The message lived on long after, no matter how dark the nights. Sometimes the greatest victories and the deepest loves are born when you refuse to give up. Alex walks Emma down the rain-soaked street. She's tired, asking, "Daddy, are we gonna have dinner tonight?" Alex forces a smile, lying gently. "Of course, sweetheart. Daddy's just waiting for the right time." Narrator. Alex wasn't a man without skills. He had once been an accountant, brilliant with numbers, until tragedy ripped his world apart. His wife died giving birth to Emma, and he traded career success for bottles of baby formula and sleepless nights. The bills piled up, friends drifted away, and judgment came from every direction. But he never let Emma see his despair. For her he wore a brave face. Inside the hotel, Nathan Cross, CEO of a billion-dollar empire, sat in silence, drowning in paperwork. His company was days from collapse. His advisors had failed him. His fortune, his reputation, everything was seconds from vanishing. He left the boardroom angry and saw security ushering out a drenched man with a child. Nathan stopped them. "Nathan, wet. Where are you going with a little girl in the rain?" Security. "He's trespassing, sir." Alex, embarrassed. "I just needed a place for her to warm up." Nathan's gaze softened. Something about the way Alex shielded Emma struck him. Against all instinct, he asked, "What's your story?" Alex resisted at first, but Nathan pressed. Over coffee, Alex admitted he once worked with numbers. Nathan, desperate, threw him a challenge. "Nathan, if you're as good as you say, tell me how you'd save $1 billion company with only 3 days." Narrator. Alex should have walked away. But something inside him stirred, the old fire, the sharp mind that had been buried under years of grief. He took a marker, stood in front of a whiteboard, and began to draw. He explained restructuring, redirecting cash flow, cutting dead investments, and forming a partnership with overlooked smaller firms. His ideas were raw but brilliant. Nathan leaned back, stunned. You just did what my entire board couldn't." The next 72 hours were chaos. Narrator. With Nathan's trust, Alex was thrust into the lion's den. Board members sneered, investors laughed, and journalists predicted collapse. "He's just a single father," they mocked. But Nathan stood by him. At one meeting, a board member spat. "Why should we trust a broke man who can't even pay his rent?" Nathan's voice boomed. "Because he understands what it means to lose everything and still fight back. That's the kind of man I want at my side." Meanwhile, Emma sat in Nathan's office, coloring quietly, her presence a reminder of why Alex refused to give up. Alex worked sleepless nights, his hands trembling from exhaustion. Nathan stayed with him, bringing food, offering encouragement. Slowly, their respect grew into something deeper. Two lonely men finding solace in each other's company. On the third day, Alex's plan unfolded like magic. Investors who were seconds from pulling out reinvested. Partnerships were reshaped, debts slashed. The company rebounded with breathtaking speed. News headlines exploded. Nathan Cross pulls off the 1B recovery. Inside the company's headquarters, the celebration began. Champagne popped, employees cheered, but Nathan silenced the room.